There we go. And I will begin my presentation here. Okay, everybody can see the screen here.
Yep.
All right, so welcome to our May 6th presentation. We have a few special guests with us today here. And welcome to the Intergenerational Linkages Community of Practice that is supported by CORE Alberta and Healthy Aging Alberta. Before we begin, I'm just going to start us off with a land acknowledgement here. So in the spirit of our journey to promote reconciliation, we'd like to honor the truth of the shared history and acknowledge the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit who've lived in and cared for these lands for generations. We're grateful for the traditional knowledge keepers and elders who are still with us today and those who have gone before us. And while I want to recognize all the nations across Turtle Island and those traditional lands that we're tuning in from today. I myself am tuning in from Treaty 7 territories, which are the traditional homes of the Blackfoot Confederacy, including the Kainai, Piikani, and Siksika nations, the Lahaie Nakota, including the Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Goodstoney nations, and the Tsuut'ina. I'm also tuning in from Métis regions 5 and 6, and the area I'm tuning in from Mohkinstsis, which is known today as Calgary, which is the meeting of the waters. So I acknowledge that that is where I am and that I have the privilege to live and work and play in this space. Just some housekeeping before we get going. You can, of course, keep yourself muted while the presenters are going. We will have some conversation time after each presenter and some conversation at the end as well. You can, of course, you can add any comments to the chat there that you would like, any reactions you want to give, or if you want to raise your hand. So you can either ask your questions in the chat or you can unmute yourself there and ask it when we have the chance. And as mentioned, we are going to be recording this session and posting up later on CORE Alberta and the CORE Alberta platform. Oh, my thing is jumping back in time here for whatever reason. And a little bit of information. So this group is supported by the CORE platforms. We do have 3 CORE platforms: CORE BC, CORE Alberta, and CORE National. This group is currently hosted on the CORE Alberta platform, but we are a national group that has leadership from all across Canada. The CORE Alberta platform is supported by Healthy Aging Alberta, which is backboned by United Way of Calgary area. So I represent Healthy Aging Alberta. But the 3 core platforms in general, they are coordinated learning hubs to strengthen the sector and increase organizational and sector capacity through information sharing, training, mentoring, communities of practice, policy development, resource development, and collaboration. So if you're not familiar with any of the 3 core platforms, please check them out. They have lots of resources that can help support your work. You can collaborate with others in groups on all 3 of the platforms. There's resources available on all 3 of the platforms to help support your work with both regional and national focus. And you are able to add your own content to the platform as well. It's very much a for community by community type of platform that you can add features of what you're working on. And just to introduce our group, since only Jane and I are here today, but some of our colleagues here weren't able to make it, we have Betty Good, who is an intergenerational trainer and consultant with Good Links Intergenerational Practice that works, she's based out of Calgary, but she works across Canada. We have Jane Atkins, who's in the room here today, who's the co-chair of the Sundre Senior Spruce Society in Sundre. We have myself, who is the engagement and communication specialist at Healthy Aging Alberta. And then we have Rochelle, who is a social gerontologist with the Nork Innovation Centre at UHN Toronto. And we're always looking for additional leadership across Canada here. So if you're ever interested in wanting to take more of a leadership role in intergenerational community practice work, you're welcome to send us a message and help join our leadership team here. All right, I'm going to pass it over to Jane, who's going to introduce our guests.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to start off with Claudia because she has a little bit of a time constraint today. So Claudia Lahaie is a co-founder of GenerActions in Ottawa, which has a mission to promote and develop intergenerational relationships throughout Canada. She's had almost 30 years of experience in this field. Bienvenue, Claudia.
Merci beaucoup. Very happy to be with all of you today. The purpose of my presentation is to present you different ways in which you can do volunteer intergenerational programming wherever you are. And I want to start with two things. First is that all the information about the website and if you want to email us at GenerActions is already in the chat. It's the first communication in the chat. The second thing is that although I really like volunteering, I love seniors and youth coming together, I think that I have to say that there's a lack of funding into intergenerational programming throughout Canada. And it's very difficult to create those volunteering programs if there's no money to pay people to coordinate those programs. So I just wanted to make that clear. So let me start. I had the chance to live in different places in the world. And in each of those places, I always tried professionally or voluntarily to do intergenerational programming. So I will present some of those programs to you. So when I lived in New York City, and I lived in a very big community center where they had daycare centers, teenage programs, senior residences, programs for people without homes. And so it was a very nice place where it was not easy, but where it was possible to create intergenerational programming. So the first one that we built was a choir that was coming from the south of the United States, and they were doing gospel choir. It was very, very nice. And then we were able to bring the senior program with the children program and the youth program all at the same time to listen to that choir. So it made it really, really special to be able to have all those generations together. So that's one thing that can be done. And then after that success, what we decided to do is to have the children and the seniors meet and to create a choir. So they met many weeks and they were learning how to sing together. And at the end, they had a little concert where people from the community got invited. And by the way, during COVID in Ottawa, we created this same kind of program, but it was online because of COVID. So there was a senior choir with a real children choir, and they met online and they created this beautiful song. So there's a lot of possibility in terms of volunteering. I'm giving you examples, but after that, I hope you're going to have a lot of ideas. Another thing that we did is that we had some youth interviewing seniors in that residence. I am back at New York now. So we had some youth coming into the residence with the seniors, and they asked them some questions about when they were young. And based on that, they wrote a play. And they built the play and they showed the play to those seniors and also people from the community. It was just wonderful. Like the seniors who were there, they were so excited. So it was a beautiful event. Then after New York, I moved to Montreal and then Ottawa. And I had my own children who were young. And I decided that while I was working, I really wanted to continue to do intergenerational programming. So I did it with my own kids. So in Montreal, for instance, there was this intergenerational organization. And if you go there, they will give you a volunteer that you can visit. So I decided to go with my children who were very young at the time. I even have my daughter baptism with one of the senior that we were visiting. And this was just a very, very wonderful activity. And then when I moved to Ottawa, I had my third son who was really young. And here there was this senior residence with a lot of seniors who had Alzheimer. So they were sitting in a circle, and my son would go and sit in the middle and play. And then by the weeks, you could see that the seniors were more and more aware of my son going, and they were more present to what was going on. So that was a very nice activity as well. And then after that, with my family, we moved to London, UK. And there again, I wanted to create more intergenerational activities. So we had, very easy to do, we had the kids who did cards for Christmas, did cards for Valentine's Day. It's very easy to do, and it makes people really happy. So that's an easy thing you can do. Another thing we did also is the pen pal projects. And in this case, this is when I was back here in Ottawa. And what I really like about this pen pal project is that in this case, we did it with children who were in French immersion, or you can do it with children in English immersion. So they can see the use of writing. And so writing in a second language is not easy, but at least if you have someone who wants to read what you're writing, it makes it much more interesting to learn how to write. Another program that we have here in Ottawa is a literacy program. So we are recruiting senior citizens who are interested to read books to children in primary school. Here it's for grade 1. So once a week you have a senior who come and sit with 4 or 5 children, and they read them a book, and they do it for 8 weeks. And this is a very popular program. It started in Quebec, in the province of Quebec, and now it's going here in the province of Ontario. It's in French at the moment, but it can be done in English. And the last one that I would like to say, one that I forgot, is having, and that's one of the most popular but most difficult to organize, it's visits. So you can have a primary school class who go into a residence and go visit seniors. You can do it in different ways. You can have like games in a room, or you can have different things to do and they all meet in a room. But also you can have youth that are a bit older, and they can go in the apartment of the senior. So they create really a more individual relationship. So you can do it with older youth. So this is two different things, but it's very difficult, again, to organize because you need to coordinate the school and with the residents. But I have this going on right now in Ottawa, so it's possible. And the last one is here in Ottawa, we have an art school. And this school, every year, they produce a book with poetry and drawings and paintings, and they put it in a book each year, and they give it to the senior residents. So it's very easy to do. We do it usually on June 1st, which is National Intergenerational Day. So it's a nice gift. And at the same time at that school, they have the end of year dance show, drama show, music show, and it's recorded. So we can show it in the residence to the residents who cannot get out. So that's another thing that you can do. So you can see sky is the limit here. So there's a lot that can be done. And when you find people who are really interested in doing it, it's possible. But again, I think that if there was more money towards those programs, it would be much easier because it's a lot of work. And if you're not paid to do those things, then it becomes a bit harder because you need to do your work and then you need to do this on top. And I would say that's the problem. But apart from that, of course, everybody, when you do those activities, are super happy. It breaks stereotypes. It makes people think outside of their comfort zone, which is great because we need that. So I will stop there. I don't know if people have questions or comments, or also I would like to hear if any of you have started anything on a voluntary basis, and that's worked, I would love to hear it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That's a lot of ideas to bring forward, and a lot of volunteerism in the areas. Does anyone have any questions? You can either raise your hand or so we can see you. Or unmute yourselves to talk. Any questions about what she's presented?
I do have a question here.
Okay.
My name is Aaron. I'm just wondering what sort of what's the word in terms of engaging with vulnerable sector, like with children, engaging with seniors and the facilitators of this. Is there some vulnerable police checks or anything that are involved in this whole process?
So if it's a group, like if it's a classroom that goes and it's not something repetitive like every week, if it's once in a while, like the group that I have right now, they went for about 6 times during the year, you don't need to do anything. But when it becomes really, really repetitive, sometimes there are cities that will require the vulnerable check. It depends. And also, if you have youth who come on their own, it's more that if they are on their own coming to visit a senior, then for sure they will need to have those vulnerable check. And that's another, thank you for pointing that out, because that's a real problem. It's very, very difficult to get that for the youth who don't drive a car, to go at the other side of the city to get it. It's another barrier that we have encountered, and it's not easy. So, but yeah, if it's a one-time thing, or if it's a group thing, then you don't need. But yeah, but for the youth, sometimes it's nice to create a personal relationship. There's always the possibility of doing it online, but it's not the same.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that.
Is there anybody who have examples of things that they have implemented in their community that worked?
I have.
Yeah.
Can you hear me okay? I'm sorry, I'm working from my phone and I'm not very confident.
We hear very well.
Okay, thank you. I have just discovered you in this thing, so I'm all excited about everything. I live in Quebec near Ottawa, and a number of, so I hope to talk to you in the future, Claudia. I worked in the future here in the Wakefield area, a youth elder project. And I lead a writing group, and it was kind of focused around writing. That was really interesting to watch. And a long time ago, I went to Calgary and did a puppet conference, and the primary speaker was someone who used puppetry.
Mm-hmm.
And I could really see something neat, sort of your example of the storytelling where the kids interview, but even both ways, that the seniors interview and then they make maybe puppets or a show that way and interact with each other that way. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm just tuning into this. So the wheels are turning.
Wow. And I volunteer in Wakefield, so we could meet up there.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. If anybody else is in this area, let's let's do it. Thank you.
But yeah, puppetry is a great idea. Yeah, we've done it with youth, but mixing with the seniors, I love this idea. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you can bring in recycling too, like
Definitely. Yeah.
found objects and things like that. And so that, that might be the theme around it is what are the youth, what do the seniors think about taking care of our earth, that kind of thing.
I love this. I could see this totally as an intergenerational program. Wow.
Nationally, everyone, nationally.
Thank you.
I'll let someone else speak now.
Anybody has ideas?
Another thing, like I know what I have done when I was teaching French immersion and we had seniors that spoke French in our community, we did actually cooking together.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I love it. Again, it's useful but then you meet people, it's natural. So I love it. Wow. Yeah.
So knowing that your time is almost up, if there's no more questions.
Can I just say one thing?
Yep, I didn't see you down there.
Okay.
Thank you, Helen.
That's okay, no problem. I missed, Claudia, what you were saying about the choir. Some really great ideas, and I'm taking lots of notes here. So what I heard was that children and adults were singing together. So how did that happen?
So in our case, usually they practice each on their own, because the big problem with all of those activities is to find a common time. So with the choir, what we did is that we had one choir conductor. She went to practice with the children and the youth like a couple of times, and then she did it with the seniors, and then they met once or twice before they did the show. So that was not too cumbersome, and the result was great. For some of the song, we had different voices, so it was quite nice. So yeah, and usually they were trying to pick songs that everybody would know, not to make it too complicated. But yeah, so I think it's always the practicality that is a problem, but it's always possible, especially if you get people who are really motivated.
Yeah, we have a choir. I'm on Sir Turner Island, which is a small rural population on the west coast, sort of off from Vancouver. And we have an elementary school that has several grades in one classroom. And so we're trying to identify projects that we can bring the children together with our local seniors. And I'm getting some ideas. And the choir idea I really like. So
yeah, everybody likes to sing. So it always worked usually very well. I've not seen any problem with that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Tracy.
Okay. Tracy.
Hi. Any tips and tricks for capacity building to manage this? That tends to be a challenge.
Yeah, that's exactly how I started my presentation. I think the problem is that we don't have enough funding to pay the people to organize those things, because it's not enough to have a teacher who likes to do this and then someone in a senior residence who would like to do it. You need someone in the middle to put them together. Just me this year we started the visit between the school and the resident. I had been working on that for 2 years because things happen, don't have time. They all want to do it, but so I met with them consistently, and then finally we did it. So but I didn't add funding to do it. I did it because I believe in it. But I think that the problem is really that to be able to have someone who that's his job to do. The thing is, once it's done, it's done. Like I don't talk to them anymore. I don't have to do anything because they made the calendar. They just meet. It's done. So it's very easy once it's up and going. But it's to make it start that is a challenge. And I think that if there's no money to do this, I mean, it's hard. That's my biggest issue.
Yeah, we had so I guess I have a question for the group total, and then I have actually a sort of a comment in terms of a program. We had been doing a pen pal program. I'll start with that. With 3 different organizations. One was a long-term care center, but the recreation therapist was going around to each of the older adults to get their letters, and it just wasn't sustainable. However, what this project did do is it built a really good relationship between the personal development and community involvement animator at the school, at the high school, which is like a 5-10 minute walk away, 5 minutes probably from the school. And so what they've done is this year, once a week, students from the high school are going to the long-term care residence for visits. And so they're actually visiting in the room. And now there's like more and more students that are signing up that they can't handle that exactly. And there's still some challenges in that, but the relationship has been built. So now they're trying to figure out because the timing doesn't always work. So maybe what they're going to, because, you know, the older adults might be tired or they're about ready to transition to mealtime. So they're working on maybe just doing something in the salle communautaire, the community room. But the relationship is built and they really want to keep to doing it. To that point also is that, like you were saying, Claudia, is yes, they want to do it. The relationship has been established, so they're now adapting accordingly. However, if one of those people leave,
Yeah.
we don't know what's gonna happen there. So to the funding, I have a question in general for everyone. Does anyone have funding? Do they get funding to do your programs, or is it also all bénévolat?
Could I get the people to think on this one?
Yeah,
And
sorry.
after Ashley's presentation, we may have some more things to question. So we'll bring that up as the first question after that, because I know Claudia has to depart. So I'd like to thank you very much for your presentation today. Lots of good ideas. And you will all be able to look at this again because it is being recorded. So if you miss something, you will be able to pick it up. Thanks for the great question, Tracy.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, next we have Ashley. Ashley is a photographer, a mom, and a wife, lots of things to do. She's been co-creating a program called Through Human Eyes for 1 year, and she's excited to be new to this intergenerational community of connections. So Ashley, let's hear about your really great program.
Good morning, friends. I'm super excited to be presenting today. Let's deep dive into the program that I've done for the past year. We got a grant from New Horizons for Seniors from the Canadian government, and we basically have gone forward and created a program throughout the year. And part of this program has been creating workshops for our seniors and our kids, which we call olders and youngers, into getting to know themselves better, to be able to communicate better with one another. And we believe that this has been a huge success in going forward with our connection events. So through these connection events, I've also photographed all of them. And we are producing a book that should be out in the next couple months with these beautiful portraits of our youngers and olders and the story that we've created from this program. So I really believe that intergenerational connection can change lives. And the reason for that is that I grew up in a 3-generation house. Now, it is such a blessing to have your grandmother right above you. But we also know that kids who grow up in intergenerational houses are further ahead with language, just authentically connecting with people, etc. So what I thought about when I created this program was, we have lonely kids because our kids are iPad kids, let's be serious here, or they don't know how to communicate properly, or, right? And we have seniors who are lonely, who haven't maybe reconnected with their loved ones or through COVID, or, you know, they're just lonely. There's not a lot of programming in the homes these days that are entertaining, we'll say, is what I've found. And I think that everyone is inherently good, which is why joining a volunteering program connecting seniors and kids is much easier for everyone when they realize that it's going to benefit everyone. It's really easy to say to a senior, you could change a kid's life joining this program. They're going to go, well, what do you mean? How do you do that? Just by talking to them. And they're going to go, oh, okay, I can do that, right? It's like sales. It's like a buy-in almost for them that they can help someone, right? And for the kids, it's the same thing. You know, kids are inherently good and they want to help. So if they can communicate with an older and, you know, their buy-in is like, we get to talk to people. Yeah, let's do it. You know, I think that's a big piece. What's lost and what has been lost through the pandemic is real connection. And when we look at connecting our olders and our youngers together, we really felt that there was a certain style of communication we wanted them both to have. I'm a bit of a forward thinker in a lot of ways. I don't like elephants in the room, so I like to address them and get them off the table. For example, all of our olders, which just it happened this way, just to be abundantly clear, was all white people, and all of our children were people of color. And that is such a beautiful thing in so many regards. But it was one thing that, like, for example, one of our seniors was like, hey, why is there no white kids in here? I said to him, I said, well, these kids were hand chosen and they're here to see you because they really want to have time with you. And he was like, well, I guess I can try this out. Like, yeah, you can. You know, and I believe that in having hard conversations, we open up a vulnerability door for all of us to be more authentic. And I think that was a really big success in our program because of our workshops that we created. We did imagery workshops of the way we saw ourselves in the world. We did that with our kids and our olders. Every workshop that we did with our kids, our olders did, and vice versa. Because and that laid a really strong foundation for our program for when we got together to have our connection events. I believe that the struggle in volunteering is, as Claudia said, the funding. I think the funding is not there. Putting this program together has been a lot, as I'm sure every single person here knows that it is a lot putting the program together and not having funding, and working a full-time job and right? But I think the biggest piece in getting our seniors to join was the fear of the unknown. And when our seniors go, well, I don't know if I can do this. Well, when's the last time you tried to do something hard? Because I believe this is going to be easy because you just like to talk to people. Well, you're right. I am good at talking to people. I think it's addressing the hard topic in the room and going through it. And also giving them the tools to help themselves through that. Like one of the questions of our olders was, well, how do I even talk to a young person? And I said to him, and I said, well, you're talking to me right now. I don't see a problem. He goes, well, what if I say something wrong? I said, do you think you can correct it? He goes, well, yeah, of course. I wouldn't want to offend anyone. I said, then what are you worried about? And I think it's, you know, as human beings, we want connection. You know, we all want to connect with one another. And, you know, realistically, our seniors and our kids want that too. So I found it really easy to kind of match everyone up and get that going. I think a big piece of this is the buy-in. You know, I think you need to be good at sales a little bit in order to really get a program going, especially getting them to understand that, like, this is what we're doing and this is how we're going to do it. And, you know, you kind of coach them along through this scary process that's just hanging out with kids. But I think when you get to know your seniors beforehand, before the program starts, I also think that that creates a big success rate. And, you know, if we can all take that time with one another, getting to know our kids first, getting to know our seniors, and, you know, then introducing them, I think it creates a different dynamic in a program and a better community because they know how to communicate together now. They know how to, they have a foundation, right? And I think also a big success with this is that we did team building throughout our entire project. So I'm sure we've all been to a team building experience. And you know, I don't know if we got a show of hands out there, but who's done a team building experience? But I think, right? Yeah, I think that when you do that with seniors, it looks different. So for example, and maybe not so different, we did a snowball fight. We did an indoor snowball fight, and we had our 91-year-old senior running at a kid with a snowball. to tag them out. We did not coach this. It's all on video. But it was something that was fun and joyful and immersive, you know, and I think part of the issue right now is that you have seniors who are sitting doing nothing. Let's be serious. And you have kids that are kind of doing the same kind of nothing, which is sitting around watching TV or whatever. Kids aren't even allowed to leave the house anymore, right? But I think when you get them together, they're so excited to do something together, to communicate, to move their bodies. And that was the other thing about our program, is that we always did something with movement. And I think, you know, back to the snowball, watching his face light up as a 91-year-old man, I will take with me for the rest of my life. You know, the kid getting hit by a snowball by this 90-year-old woman, he's like, "You got me out." It was very dramatic. I think also we did art. I think doing art with seniors and kids together is super powerful. We did like painting on windows and spray paint on windows and stuff like that. So we left it up in the senior home for the other seniors who weren't involved in the program to see through the week. So it made other senior girls, "Well, what are you guys doing?" And it kind of created a buzz throughout the home to get more seniors to come. So I think also being able to have a visual for people to join is really important. The other thing that we did through our team building exercises was what we called a hello huddle. So think of speed dating, right? You're in a small group, one older, 3 kids, and you each have 7 minutes. And you go around, the kids move around the circle every 7 minutes to chat with. We had certain questions for them to go through, but it always strayed from our questions because the kids had their own questions and the seniors had their own questions to ask. And, you know, I love structure, and I love that a lot of programs have structure, but I also think there needs to be time for curiosity of the minds and time for us all to, you know, be with one another and see where that goes. And I know that can be uncomfortable for a lot of people, but I think there's also such powerful energy in being in the uncomfortable with everyone. So these connection events that we had structure, we had movement, we have art, we had hello huddles, we had communication times, we had games times as well. So we had 3 or 4 of our youngers who really, really enjoyed chess. And we had one of our olders who was like a chess master in like the 70s. And so they'd sit and have chess time together, right? And that was their thing. They loved to do. And, you know, we didn't know that chess time was going to be a thing throughout our program, but we sure made sure it did happen because everyone loved it, right? And it was entertaining watching them, let's be serious too. You know, I think, you know, back to the buy-in, and we're talking about getting seniors interested in volunteering. I really think it comes down to sales. I really think it comes down to the connection that we make as human beings and the buy-in of how we're going to get people to join our program. For us in this program, our biggest issue was not the seniors buy-in. Our issue was getting a seniors resident on board. How many meetings were we turned down? How many times did we show up and they were like, "Oh yeah, we don't want a program like this." I'm like, "It's going to cost you nothing." Also, why wouldn't you want a program for your seniors that's engaging? You know, and I felt like there was a lot of gatekeeping with residents, which is very strange, you know, and I really believe that getting a senior to volunteer is easy if you can get them to understand connection. And I think that's my biggest piece for you guys today, is that if we can all learn to connect a little bit better, I think we'll all be better for it. So, yeah, thank you. Oh, you're muted. Still muted, Jane.
There we go. Now I can talk again. I unmuted it up there, not down there. Thank you very much. Lots of great input. I can just see some of the seniors that I work with and that in what I'm doing. really buying in if I get that right sales pitch to them.
Right.
So it's a good thing. Now, and I see somebody put in that they had a program at George Vanier, same elementary. So it was quite an interesting thing for them. Any
That's the
questions?
school we worked with.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Amazing. I love
Sheila.
that. Oh my God. That's amazing, Sheila. Sorry.
I like that. It sounds like a good seed for a good TED Talk. Any comments or questions? If not, I do want to return to, we'll catch up if you think of something along the line. But the question that Tracy had about funding. Okay, so yours is a New Horizons project. I know that the stuff that I'm going to be doing is funded through New Horizons, as well as we have support of some of the community people, like bigger contract companies and things like that. So, Linda.
Yeah, I'm afraid I came a little late stumbling. I'm now on my computer, which is a lot easier than the phone. So I'm in Quebec, so I don't know where everybody is here. I recognize that the Horizons Grant is a national, but I'm also hearing a lot of the arts as the angle in. And so I don't know, it's one of those things that I'm trying to wade through is how does one go to either your local city-based arts council or the Canada Council for the Arts, because I think engagement is a part of their mandate as well. There's something here in the Ottawa area called Radical Connections that is doing something similar. I don't know if people are aware of that. You could look into what they're doing. And on the Quebec side in our area, there's something called Connections with an X Resource Center, and it's for English language health resources. So the arts angle and the health angle is what I'm going for, and thought maybe others might want to use the same, or whatever it is you're passionate about. Look for the funding in that stream, and we can maybe connect and cross-pollinate and get the wider resources realizing just what a gem these kinds of things are.
I think it's also about I think the arts is like there is funding for programs like this as long as there's the photographer or there's a videographer or right. But I think a really good avenue is also like there's a lot of people at this meeting today, and I think if I mean, this is my first one, so I don't know how we roll here, friends, but I feel like if we could pound the pavement together, I think we would maybe turn some more heads about why intergenerational connection is so important and how it can change a kid's life, let alone our seniors, right? I think that would also be really awesome to see, and I don't know if we do that already.
Thank you, Linda. Move on to Diane.
Hi, Ashley. I'm wondering if you could talk to how much promotion, advertising, visibility you got from the media in this great program that you established over the year.
Yeah, so the struggle has been getting people to show up and the buy-in for that. We have sent out many like news, global, etc. Like this is the stuff people want to see. You know, we've all had some stuff on the news where we're like, oh, come on, right? But this is great human interaction that people would love to see. We've had the Surrey School Board who's published a couple articles about this program, which has been really awesome. So we're trying to generate buzz that way as well. We've also, like, sounds crazy, but we've also reached out to certain celebrities as well, looking for some backing from BC celebrities, which is insane, just to see what they'd even say. Now, unfortunately, Michael J. Fox was a little bit busy, but it was something we definitely reached out to him to to say, hey, look, like this is right. This is in your hood. Like this is a really great program to showcase. And he was like, that's really cool. I think also I'm not afraid to go out and pound pavement, as weird as that sounds. But I think through the public eye, I think there needs to be someone who can think on their toes and be asked interview questions and be asked, like, be able to think quickly, that can answer those questions and passionately in the media. Does that answer that, Diane?
Yeah, it does. So I think what goes along hand in hand with funding or sponsorship or opportunities where we can grow these kinds of programs and make them available across the country, which would be the dream, is visibility. So they go hand in hand. And I love the way we meet and we exchange ideas, and but I just think that more people need to not just read about it and talk about it, they need to see it, because those human connections really hit home when people see the results. And so I would love to go after funding that also is hand in hand with publicity, because I think that funders or sponsors or will want that. And then the more people that actually see it and feel it, the more we'll engage, I think. So that's a goal of mine, is just to grow the picture of this. And as you said, it's 1,000 words. Like, you really need to feel this connection, human to human, in the presence of somebody who's engaged in the program of any generation, but that's engaged together. So I love that we're all connecting like this, because the more people that strive to put these programs together and offer them, the better. And then it does grow the visibility, but we also need a campaign that blows this wide open and makes it visible to everybody.
Tracy, does that answer some of your questions? Yep.
Yeah, it's just finding the different sources and partnering up. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for Ashley or for anybody that's here? I can give you some insight into some of the programs that I have coming up that might be of interest to you guys in your thing. So it is one of them is like dining with friends or dinner with friends, and it's an eat and meet. So we're starting off in our Royal Canadian Legion, and we're actually having some of the vets from our area that will be there, and then some seniors that have been in isolation that will be there to get to meet families and youth. And so what we do is we do some introduction kind of things, like little circles and that. Then they eat at different tables, and then they will actually do an activity that kind of competes against each table at the end that they get to take home. And we have several different ones planned throughout the year. Another thing that we're doing is called GenerActions. So in Edmonton, there's a group called GenerActions, and they actually, a long time ago, they met. It was high school students and seniors, but now there's actually a course at the university in social work degree for GenerActions, where the seniors and the youth work, and they kind of talk about ageism types of issues, and then they make radio plays and interactive plays that they present in front of the public. So we're going to be doing something like that with drama students from our high school. And Reading Buddies was a good one. It's going to be a very popular one because all the grades want to do it. And we're doing, confidence building. So it's a course that we've developed that is self-awareness all the way to confidence, and it's for anybody 17 to 100. So our seniors are actually excited about it, that they're going to do something to see a more positive aspect of their lives, but they interact with the youth. And to recruit youth, what I've done is I went to the career fair at our high school, and I had all the different careers for that could be done with seniors, but I talked about the volunteering and how it's good on their resumes. And I got like 3 immediately. And I've got 3 others that have shown interest since then. So it was a really quick way to get the youth involved because they've got excited about it. Any other questions? Ideas? Yes, Linda.
Looking for the hand signal. I'm new to all of you, so I'm not sure if there are other people who are new here. This is something you do monthly. Is there a sign-up place where we could meet each other on our own if we've heard something? I don't understand what happens after this.
I'll let Stephanie talk. Oh, can't hear you, Stephanie.
But you're unmiked. Yeah, something's come out.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, my little button got pushed. We actually run this community practice once a month here. So we have another one happening in June, and we've actually had 2 this month just because Intergenerational Group Week was last week. So we've had a few going on here. But yeah, we'd love for you to come to future ones. I'll put the link in the chat here in a moment so that other folks, if this is your first time coming to this group, you can come join us the next time as well.
Yeah, and Betty
Like
also.
a directory or something, or like, do we get each other's emails in any way? Is that allowed? I'm just wondering how you're doing that.
So within the core group space, so I don't know if you caught my little discussion at the beginning, but we have the group hosted on CORE Alberta, even though it's a national group. It started on CORE Alberta, so we have it currently hosted there. But it's a national community practice, and in that space, CORE Alberta's all 3 of the core platforms are for community by community spaces. You can post content, you can start discussions, you can share events you have going on, you can share capacity building, you could look at funding. So they're very much for the community to develop how they want and what content they want to be sharing. And within the actual physical group space there, we have all of the members. And if you haven't physically joined that space, you can click join and see everybody else and send them a message. Sorry, somebody's calling at the same time here. I just need to send that to voicemail. Yeah, so you can send folks message there, and then as well. Yeah, typically we send out post meeting messages, but for the sake of everybody's privacy, we don't usually share the email addresses of everybody that attended.
And I
But
know
in that
that
group space, you can
Betty
see.
was trying to develop a discussion thread as well for the group. So
Yeah.
it's something that can be an ongoing thing and we can put our questions into. And I'm sure if everybody is game with it, we can get her to start that and continue our discussion like we've had here today. So
Yeah, I'll pull up the group links and the event link here so you guys can
there is
see.
a question for Ashley. Is your program going to continue after the year?
So we are looking for more funding. It has been a wild ride. Yeah, we're looking for funding right now. It's a hard road. I would love to, you know, in a perfect world, I would really love to see this program in at every school. And I just don't know how to make that happen right now. I think that every should participate in something like this.
One day at a time.
That's right.
Okay, Rosbina.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I have a question I'd like to revert back to volunteerism and engaging youths. Have we thought about what you call waivers? You know, like under what age can a youth volunteer with the organization independently? Because at the moment, I find that I would rather secure ourselves as an organization by having the parent give the consent if they are under 16. Otherwise, over 16, yes, we would say that they're making an independent decision, and we would engage them independently. Can I get some feedback or some of your thoughts, like what have you been doing as organizations around this particular criteria?
Anybody with a response? Okay, Ashley.
So our kids were 10 and 11 years old, and we had a lot of consent forms. We had a media consent. We had a school board consent that the school board had to sign off on in order to even do this program. And then we also had parental consent as well. So out of those 3 consents, that's what we had to do.
But what age group are you doing the cutoff? Are you doing under 14 or 14 and under, or 16 and under, 15 and under? That's what I want, that parameter, please.
Right. So professionally, we're doing 10 and 11-year-old kids, but I would still say if they are a minor, I would still have them sent out. And that's also, like, as a parent, I would also want to know what my child's participating in. Not that I would say no, but I think it's just good, even as a parent, to see what's going on, especially if there's going to be media involved.
Yeah, Rosbina, so just as a fill-in, I'm at Healthy Aging Alberta, but I've been for years and years and years and years here doing youth work. And I would echo Ashley's there. Typically, I've had the parents sign any consent, any information up until 18. As soon as they hit 18, then they can sign their own forms. But they always sign theirs up until 18. Typically, once they hit those teen years, I do have them do a co-sign with their parent so that they also have that autonomy to agree in addition. So usually from 12 to 18, there's both that option for the youth to agree and the parent to agree, but the parents are still, or the guardians are still required on those forms. Sometimes if it's just an informational document, in addition to those consent waivers, like I might have the official consent waiver that both the parent and the youth need to agree to, but then the information document that's like, you're going to come at this time, bring your lunch, bring your water, dress for the weather, those kind of things that aren't the legal documents. I'll have the youth sign on their own, and they don't necessarily need the parent or guardian to sign unless they're a little bit younger. But then they're agreeing to it. They've seen it. They know, okay, I need to bring all these things. This is where I need to be, et cetera, et cetera. But those are on the non-legal types of documents, just the info sheet. We're going to be at Genesis Center in Calgary at 10 o'clock on Saturday, kind of deal. Wear your jacket.
Thanks, Stephanie. Diane.
I'm just wondering if you can explain the difference between CORE Alberta, CORE BC and CORE Canada. And if I want to join, do I join each platform separately, or are they combined or associated with one another somehow? So I'm just
Yes.
just for clarity, I don't
Yeah.
quite understand.
Yeah, so the three core platforms are all connected. The BC and Alberta ones they have a bit more provincial content on them. So the types of content can differ between the three platforms. We do share on the provincial platforms. So I moderate the Alberta one. Laura from United Way BC moderates the BC one, and then we have Felicity and Selena from HelpAge moderating the national one. So Felicity, Selena, Laura, and myself, we collaborate together very intensely. They're all three connected platforms. They have a similar focus, which is bringing together the community-based senior serving sector across Canada and being able to connect folks, have these communities of practice, share information. When you can sign up to one or all three platforms, when you sign up to one of the provincial ones, you'll be able to sign up for the national one at the same time. So for example, you could do Alberta and national at the same time, or BC and national at the same time. When you sign up to one of the provincial ones, it doesn't automatically opt you into the other provincial one. So you will need to, if you sign up for BC, you'll need to sign up for Alberta separately, and vice versa. You can keep the same password and everything. You just physically need to opt in to that other provincial one. But it will naturally opt you into national. And you're welcome to participate in any of the platforms, attend any of the events on all three platforms, share any content on all three platforms, and collaborate in those spaces. And yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Laura and I will be doing a training in June 10th. No, 10th is the Tuesday. June 12th, the Thursday. And it is in our event calendar on all three platforms there. Let me just look again at the time. I can share it here. It's 11 to 12 Mountain Time, 10 to 11 Pacific Time, 1 to 2 Eastern Time. So if you want to know more about those platforms, you're welcome to join us on June 12th, and we'll talk a little bit about them and let you know. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, Linda has a question here. She does program meeting many of the determinants of health, wondering if anyone else has partnered with community health centers, recreation centers for potential funding support. Anybody?
Doesn't look like it. I'm seeing no's, but I'll just plant that seed.
Okay.
I'm a facilitator and consultant, and so I mostly work with the groups on top. But I could see their raison d'être is very similar to yours, or what I'm understanding is, and so they may be a pathway in. You know, if we think about the determinants of health around, you know, connection, social connection, and
yeah,
and even if you're doing an activity that's helping with physical, like, so there may be some pathways there. I'll certainly be looking.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else with questions, comments? I saw Stephanie had our survey up. So if you want to take about 5 minutes, just even if other questions come up, just maybe think about the survey, and in about 5 minutes, we'll see if there's any more questions or comments. There we go.
Yeah, there's the survey link again. So yeah, we'll just spend, like Jane said, we'll spend just a few moments to do this together. Please give us your feedback on this event, future events, if there's any topics you want to see at future events too, because we'll be getting into our planning here shortly. And then we'll wrap up with the last questions, and yeah. So we'll just give you a few moments of time and then we'll jump back into questions. All right. Thank you everybody for doing the survey there. And if you're still working on it, that's fine. You can keep going after this meeting, and any input you're able to give us is very valuable, and it really helps us shape this community practice to develop the content that you want to see, develop the collaborative conversations the way you want to see, so that we can really know where things are most valuable. I did share in the chat there the June 3rd event. I did share the June 10th elder abuse event. You're welcome to come to both. Half of the elder abuse group is in this meeting here right now. So Jane and Elizabeth are here, but but yes, the intergenerational one is on June 3rd. So you can join us, and we have a bit more focus, I believe, on the men's health there that month. So we're going to be talking about
Men's Shed.
men's sheds. So, and having some folks from men's sheds come present. Yeah, is there any last conversation you'd like to chat about before we call it a day? And I want to thank Ashley so much for presenting today. It's so valuable to hear your stories and what you've been up to, and we're very grateful for your taking the time today to share, and we hope you can come join us in future events here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Excellent questions, excellent ideas that have come forth from everyone.
All right. I guess with that, I'm going to stop the recording here.